Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast on analyze the games that we love, the headlines of music, and the movies we can't forget. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, and I'm joined by two familiar special guests. First off, Mr. Greco Battles, longtime friend of the show, longtime friend of mine. Thank you so much for being back on, sir.
Thank you for having me, sir. I appreciate you.
And Micaiah Albert, you all know him, the Kansas City Chiefs president, fan club member. Thank you for being back on, man.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Obviously, we have a lot of topics to get into for this one. A lot of NBA playoffs topics in the thick of that, conference finals, and obviously thoughts on Giannis's free agency. But OKC, we were just talking about it, Mr. Greco, before the podcast. 2-0 lead, 118 to 103, and their defense, the way that they've been clamping down on Minnesota and just generating points into so many generating turnovers into so many points has been just exceptional. SGA, he gets awarded the MVP. I don't know where you guys stand on if he should have gotten the MVP or not. I know Mr. Greco has some thoughts on that, but to you, Micaiah, what did you think about that win for OKC, them getting a 2-0 lead, and what Minnesota has to do to get back into the series?
Yeah, for me, it was very validating because I know I've gotten into a lot of conversations with, as Wellington knows, the enlightened boys that we teach at school with their sports takes, and a couple other close friends.
Yeah.
So it's fun to have those conversations. But I had a lot of them picking Wolves in 5, Wolves in 6, some of them Wolves in 7, and I was just sitting
Wolves
there
in
shaking
five?
my head.
Wow, that's crazy.
I had some of them just say Wolves just straight sweep too. Now,
Oh my goodness, no,
most of
that's
those were
crazy.
my PE boys though.
That's
Okay, so
crazy.
so none of them were
They're all
my
Ant-Man fans. They're all Ant-Man
yeah, exactly.
fans.
Ant-Man fan, face of the league. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of Wolves picking, and I was just sitting there shaking my head. And I was like, no, it's gonna be OKC, despite our wonderful podcast host. Despite his skepticism entering these playoffs about them still not being seasoned
Yeah, that
enough.
was. Yeah, that was. They were watching the
And
videos. They were watching the videos.
they, they
Like, it
must
was
have they must have wanted to prove you wrong, man, because they
they
came
were going
out
that hard at me.
they came out hotter than a fox these playoffs. Now the Denver series was a battle, but
Yeah.
when you have the best player in the league battling his tail off, he just made that a series and was able to make that scrappy. But once that was over, I felt pretty comfortable in picking OKC. I think I gave him a little bit of respect to Minnesota. I think I originally picked him in 6 just because I thought Anthony Edwards is worth 2 games basically by himself.
Mhm.
So we'll see. Right now, it looks like it might be gentleman sweep,
Gentleman sweep,
and
as you said. Yeah.
I think I texted you last night
Yeah.
after the game that this looks like a gentleman sweep or just a straight up sweep if Minnesota can't figure something out for whatever
Mhm.
reason. Well, this is another thing I called. Despite Rudy Gobert looking amazing in the Lakers and the Warriors series, he's gotten absolutely exposed in this
Oh yeah, they
series.
played him off the court.
He
Yeah, they played
cannot
him.
stay on the court, which I knew was going to happen because, again, everyone, again, and this has also been nice. All of the Chet Holmgren doubters from last year
Oh, that's my
finally,
boy.
finally,
That's my boy.
once he put on some muscle,
That's
like
what he
I
had to
said
do.
he would, it's
Yeah.
like this man can play. Just give him some time to put on a little bit of weight, and he's going to be a serious threat. That and Hartenstein, both of them are just way too mobile for Gobert to be out on the floor. And once Gobert's not out on the floor, I just didn't think that they were going to have enough size or athleticism to keep up with OKC for the duration of the game. OKC is just too deep this year. They remind me a lot
Way
of
too
the
deep.
Celtics last year. I was talking with another friend before the series started when we were picking this. I asked him straight up. I said, "Who won last year?" Celtics, obviously. What
Mhm.
did the Celtics have last year? That was one of
Depth.
the key reasons that they won. They were the deepest team in the league. Why does OKC look like they're going to be the team to beat and look like they're in the driver's seat to win it all this year? Deepest team in the league right now. And so I just think that that has a lot to play and factor in with these playoffs. And when you've got the MVP on your side as well, then that doesn't hurt as well. And again, I Jokic had a fantastic year. I still
Mhm.
think he's the best player in the year in the league, but I think Shea was due one finally, so I'm okay with it. I haven't broken down the numbers as much as previous years, but I know that Shai was due one sooner or later. It's just unfortunate that in a career year for Jokic that he's going to get snubbed of getting a third one in a row, basically because it would be his third one in
It
a
would be,
row.
yeah.
So I think that plays a lot into it, and the Denver just does not look the same this year. And unfortunately, for better or for worse, I think that just plays a factor into it. So they look like they're squarely in the driver's seat. I know we're going to break down a few other things, so I'll save the rest
It's
of my
theirs to
thoughts.
lose. It's theirs to lose. It's their
Yeah,
title to lose.
right now it looks like it is going to be very comfortable series for them, and so we'll see what the East looks like. I'm sure we'll break down that in a little bit. But yeah, the T-Wolves got to figure something out to at least make this series respectable.
Definitely. To you, Mr. Greco. I mean, you also we talked about Jalen Williams as well. I mean, obviously he's the second main guy. He had 26 points, 10 rebounds. Chet Holmgren had 22. What have been your thoughts on the other players besides SGA in this series, and also like your thoughts on Minnesota, and especially Gobert just getting played off the court, like not even playable.
Well, I've never, for me, I've never been a Gobert fan.
I know.
I heard somebody on the podcast.
Find me the person that
who
is.
really has.
I want to see who's the Rudy
who's
Gobert
the Gobert
defender.
I mean,
Please,
I heard
step
somebody
forward.
talking about he's had this legendary career, and I'm like, dude, who would you take? Who would you would not want Gobert over a whole lot of the centers in this league?
No.
Not many. But anyway, but the thing is, they do have Gobert, and he's a big man, and Minnesota's not taking advantage of him. And I think for them, one of their problems is they don't have a point guard, somebody who can distribute the ball. Okay, they want to play Randall at the ball. Randall can't handle that's that point forward throw. Yeah, he had a game or two doing that. He didn't handle the ball well enough. They need a point guard who can get Edwards the ball, can get Randall the ball. They're playing OKC's playing 5-on-4 because they don't expect Gobert to get anything. So if you had a good point guard, you could throw him a couple of lobs or get him just a couple of little shots inside to keep his confidence going, at least make him a threat. But they're not doing that. Mike Conley's nice, but Conley's old now. He can't do what he used to do.
Yeah.
And so Naz Reid, more of a power forward. When he's on, he's great. He's great. I don't think DiVinzio's really found his spot with them yet, because really I think he's not really a point guard, and he really plays the same position as Edwards. And he's not really big enough to be on the boards. He can help them, but they've got a lot of the same type player. Naz Reid's more of a power forward. Randall's a power forward. Mm-hmm. Both of them scoring power forwards. So they've been able to get by with talent, but the OKC defense, my goodness, these young boys, and like I was telling you, Wellington a little earlier, first of all, I give a lot of credit to their coach.
Who doesn't get talked about? Does not.
Yeah, I'm just impressed with this millennial. I don't know where he came from. I don't know nothing about him. But for him to get a group of young boys to play together, to think all they're thinking about is championship and each other. Not even worried about their money. Usually got these kids at this age in NBA nowadays, they're trying to get paid.
Money.
They're fussing about my minutes. How come? You got Carson Wallace. This kid's not hard. Some games he doesn't play. Some games he's just not. There's a whole lot of teams he could start for.
He's just as happy as can be. Just as happy as can be.
The other backup guy. What's his name? Jalen Williams. The other Jalen Williams. I mean, he didn't even play. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he's not mad with that. He's okay with that. Okay, at least he's buying into it. So to me, that's a sign of some great coaching. To keep them focused on what it is they want to do. They follow the leadership of SGA, and he's just unflappable. He's just that mild-mannered. I'm under control. He's got that Walt Frazier about him. You're not going to get me too high.
Cool. He's
under control most of the time.
Yeah. He's gonna do this.
I think that's gonna segue into another topic that we've got pretty soon.
I'm ready for that. That's the one I'm ready for.
I caught that one. That was very, very sly. But I wanted to ask you, Mr. Greco, like in terms of the great defenses you've seen, because obviously, I mean, you don't want to jump the gun with this team, but statistically, it's an historically great defense. Like what how do you view it that way, like an historically great defense? Because I think it's kind of undeniable to say like that they are.
I would think so, man. The way they move their feet, the way they are always in spot, they're like on a string.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of goes backwards and forward on the string. They pick each other up. If he leaves, somebody already fills his spot. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm away up here on the other side and I run to go trap, somebody already has his man. So they're very well coached defensively, and that's because they're quick. All of them are athletic. Okay. Chet Holmgren takes up a whole lot of space. They don't give that kid enough credit. That kid is, I really like, they talk up Mobley, and Mobley's good. But I think Chet's got an opportunity to be even way better than him. I think he's got the offense, excuse me, and the defense.
Both. Yeah.
People say they're waiting on him to gain weight. Yeah, he needs to gain weight, and that's going to happen. But in today's NBA, you know, you can't hit him. You can't, but the reason you needed to wait back in the day, because somebody busts you in your chest when you come in the paint, they're going to bust you or grab you, and you can't get away. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, that's a flagrant foul, you know, so he can get away with that now, being that slight. Okay. Yeah, he can't really hold his spot as much as he can, but he's long, man. And somebody's trained him real well. And he doesn't jump wildly on a lot of shots. When he goes, he's got good timing. Okay. Hartenstein's back there to be physical. And he's a little more athletic than people want to give him credit for. So I just love their defense. I think their defense is very well oiled. They've been very well coached. They know there's an intent about it. And everybody knows, has bought into it and knows
what place to be. Yeah. All the places.
Everybody knows where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean,
so I'm impressed.
We got to get to the elephant in the room. SGA's foul baiting. That's just been talked about time and time again. In game 1, he drew 13 fouls. Game 2, drew 9 fouls with 7 being shooting fouls. I said this earlier. In the week. Like, what player hasn't? What superstar hasn't done this?
Hold on.
What superstar hasn't done this?
Some of the comparisons you did, though, were a little crazy, though.
Really?
I thought they were, because to put him in MJ and Kobe territory.
Again, I don't want to say, I'm not putting him in that. I'm just saying, like, those stars did that too. I mean, James Harden's done it,
but not to that level, or not to the same extent that. Now, here's my thing with and I want to be nuanced with this. Does he flop when he's going and again, this whole term of grifting? I don't think you can deny that he does, but to be fair to him, he plays in a league where that's commonplace. I mean, LeBron has made that to where that's a norm. That's what you do. It's selling the foul. I can't go to a high school game even anymore where these players, to make sure that they get the foul call, are not selling it a little bit more. I have a lot of good friends that tell their sons literally, like, you got to sell it more. That's literally the common saying. And that SGA, when he's going down the floor, and this is where I don't think it's necessarily his fault, because again, he's a product of the NBA that he's playing in, and he's being rewarded. It looks super awkward the way that he plays the game, but at the same time, he is aggressive with the style of play that he does. He likes to attack the basket, and a lot of times he's getting rewarded, and that's in the referee's hands. So I think the blame needs to be not put at SGA's feet in terms of grifting. And if you want to see something change, then it needs to be more the NBA officiating needs to remain consistent. Is more the conversation
Scott Foster's the #1 ref that's being accused of
saying
Scott Foster is the guy.
Okay. I think y'all are disrespecting the man's skill set. Okay. His skill set is very unique. Okay. James Harden comes into the league. Okay. And everybody's talking about he was traveling because he started that jump to the side, that step back, shoot the jumper for the 3 and all that. Now everybody's doing it. SGA has a unique style. He plays an old man's game in today's NBA. Today, everybody's looking at shooting jump shots.
Mid-range.
You want to know what your field goal percentage is and your free throw percentage is. Okay? SGA's taking you to the hole. Okay? It's like an old playground guy. He's got all the little tricks. He knows how to, when you reach around, he knows how to clamp your arm. He knows how to wrap. He's going to the hole. He's attacking. Allen Iverson attacked. What did he get? Free throw attempts. You know, Karl Malone attacked the board.
Referees do reward guys who attack the basket.
You attack the rim, and you're going to hit him.
They do reward them.
You got to understand. Yes, he attacks your body, but that's the whole point. And as a big man, you have to figure out another way. He's taking advantage of the rules of today. In the old days, they're not going to call that you just slam into me kind of ball. They're not calling that.
Oh, no, they're not. Yeah,
okay. Nowadays, that's a foul because they're rewarding offense. And he's found a way to get himself to the line. I'm going to the line. Okay. And then what happens is once he starts going to the line, then he starts pulling up, shooting the mid range because you're so concentrating on him going to the hole. Now he's pulling up, he's up in the air by himself, shooting mid range, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I think people need to appreciate his skill set. I understand they're saying he's foul baiting and this, that, and the other. And yes, if he gets clicked, he's supposed to fall to the side. They all do that. They've been doing it forever. Mike did it. Kobe did it.
See, Mike did do it. Mike did.
Well, I mean, when
Mike
you go
just
back,
didn't get the call because they let them do that.
But
Mike can get full out shoved and they wouldn't
era.
call anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But nowadays, everything's trying to help the offense. Okay. And so he's taking advantage of that. Yes. And he's like I say, he's like playing in the playground. He's clever with the ball. He's crafty. People forget how big he is. He doesn't look very big. He's 6'6".
But he is big. Yeah, that is a big dude.
He's a big man. He's a solid man. He's in shape.
On the TV screen, he doesn't look big.
No, compared to
that's because they're all monsters. That's what we forget about watching them on TV.
Like
we forget that all these dudes
if
are
you were in
6'5"
person with
and
these guys,
above.
you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
I've been to enough college games. I don't know about either of you, but it's like one of those things where it's like even the smallest dude, you're like looking up at a good 3-4 inches at the smallest dude on a lot of these
Hawks
teams.
games. I've been to Atlanta Hawks games. These guys are giants. Like,
no, that's crazy.
I went to, we on television now. You're like Trae Young. He looks like a little.
Well, Trae is small. Trae, I'm pretty sure isn't Trae 5'11"?
No, I'm 6'1", and he looks me in the eye.
Oh wow!
I was at they were interviewing him. And I was over at the Hawk game, and I was before the game. They were interviewing him, and he came over, and somebody said, "Trae Young." And because I was with some refs, and he looks at me because I'm thinking he's a little bitty. I said, "This dude looks me in the eye." I'm 6'1".
Yeah,
and he's but on TV
he looks small for the NBA. But you're right for most normal
But he's
people,
small.
That's
but
bigger.
For the NBA, he's small.
For the NBA, small.
Look at Brunson. Brunson's smaller than Trae. I bet. They call him 6'2". There's no way Brunson's 6'2".
I think his shoulder width it makes him look bigger. So I don't know about his height, but no, with SGA, I think a lot. And here's my issue, and I think some other people's issue with it is traditionally with the NBA, the way fouls get called are supposed to change in the playoffs. There's supposed to be that added level of intensity, and we just got done praising OKC's defense, as we should, because they've been putting up historic numbers. Now, the one thing I wanted to add to that conversation, caveat, and just see y'all's thoughts, I'm not trying to take a hard stance here at all, necessarily, but part of me wonders if it doesn't speak to the level of competition they're playing as well, being a little bit lower, and that making their defense look a little bit better than what a lot of other defenses are. And so I'm not going to take away, and I just, maybe we save that and discuss that again. But part of the issue that I think a lot of people have is it seems, again, and I would have to break down and crunch the numbers to make sure, but again, it seems like OKC is able to, and I think, Wellington, you made this comparison, this is what we had in the notes, to play like the bad boy Pistons of a bygone era.
Yeah.
And yet when they play offense, other teams are not allowed to play that style of defense on them, it seems like. Because for whatever reason,
that is a double standard.
For whatever reason, Shai keeps getting a lot of these calls that he gets in the regular season, which, as we said, that's the new NBA. That's right. But usually, historically, the precedent is the ref starts swallowing the whistle in the playoffs. And that has not happened with Shai in the playoffs. He's getting the same whistle that he would in January, February, March. And
that, I think that's what stands out. That's what stands out.
Let me ask you this then. Okay. Why there's no beef with Jokic? Because nobody gives out more punishment with the ball than Jokic.
Takes or
gives.
He's
got the ball, the big man. He's pounding you with those forearms.
Well, he is giving.
He's pounding you with those elbows. He's pounding you with the shoulder.
Well, again, because they let it go because they swallow the whistle, and it goes both ways for him. He doesn't get a lot of. I have some really good friends that are Nuggets fan. Jokic does not get a lot of foul calls compared to a lot of people.
No big man.
A lot of these other the big guys even more so than the guards. They swallow the whistle completely, and unless you just absolutely hack them, these centers are not going to the line. Whereas Shai gets body bumped, and they're calling a foul and he's shooting free throws, which I just don't think that should be in the playoffs. I don't think you should be calling a little bit of a body bump that, again, Shai, rightly, because of the era he's playing, is trying to sell it as if he just got gunned down in the street. When he gets a little bit of a body bump, he's trying to sell it hardcore. And right
But
now, the referees are
okay,
rewarding him, and they're calling the same thing that they would in January, February, March.
but
And
they
we're
do the same.
in
But
May.
when these stars, these guys like that, and they have the ball a lot like that, you know who other top free throw shooters in the league? Like Trae Young. I mentioned him again. People don't like him, but he's very efficient, especially on offense, because they don't think he is. Because they look at all these little can't play defense, which he can't. But there's, he's averaging 8 and a half free, or he's 7. He's down this year to 7 in free throw attempts. Because he's aggressive, goes into the ball, and whatever. Luka. Luka's gonna bend that shoulder and hit you with that forearm, and he's gonna drop back with that beautiful 3-pointer
every time.
every time. But Luka's gonna
We'll
blast
talk
you
about another player that's kind of a free throw grifter too, in my personal opinion, with the Euro style that they like to play and bring over to the States.
That really manipulated.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Who?
You said Luka, and I think Luka is guilty of that. That's a part of his game too, is seeking contact to try and make the refs think they can call.
People should get more upset at Luka than Shai, because Luka does it way he exaggerates it way more. To me, he exaggerates it way more than Shai.
Luka's not in the playoffs, so I mean, it's one of those things where it's current circumstances, and so people have more eyes on Shai now because Shai's going farther,
and they do, because the ultimate one I was going to put at the end of the list. Look at Giannis, how many fouls he gets? I mean, because he's coming in and they're banging it, they're giving him the calls. He's aggressive.
Oh, I don't know about that. Giannis is kind of like Jokic. Like Giannis would get absolutely destroyed. Like the whole build the wall scenario is half the time literally a foul, but they just let them do it because he's a big guy, and again, big guys don't get fouled in the NBA.
Exactly.
But he still averaged over 9 free throws.
He did get a lot of free throws this postseason and this year. I feel like they gave him more of a whistle this year than I saw ever before. But again, that to me was more regular season when you were seeing that. Like playoffs started and it didn't seem to be as much the whistle. Whereas this playoffs run, it seems like Shai's getting the same whistle that he was getting back in January. And just to be fair, and this is my only point, is historically that has not been the case. Is usually again playoffs start, the ref starts swallowing the whistle. That has not happened with Shai this year, and he's kind of the exception of the rule, which is why I think you see a lot more of this conversation happening about, oh, he's a foul grifter and he's selling it. Yeah, everybody does it, but it's getting accentuated because he's getting rewarded with it, which was why my big problem is the refs are the ones responsible. They need to stay consistent with the way playoff basketball usually is being reffed in the past and swallow the whistle and don't reward Shai with these little body bumps that he's trying to sell you. Make him finish. And if it's egregious enough that you would call it normally to where it significantly affects his shot, not just one of these, little body bumps, touch fouls kind of things, then you can call it. But right now they're calling everything.
But as a ref, what I'm telling you, what they're going to tell him in the ref in the room, in the back room, was it a foul? Did he get fouled?
There's a lot of things in the NBA that are a foul that they just let go. I mean, you talked about James Harden earlier. If foul violation, that we've literally created a NBA move that is literally a violation of the rules.
Yeah, it's not even illegal.
The gather step is illegal as is in
it used to be
high school and college rules, but the NBA has literally made like an addendum to it because it leads for a cool move and a lot of cool finishes, and so they've made it legal, even though
the only one who should be able to take one step from the half court line and get to the bucket might be Giannis. But these guys catching the ball in there and never dribble.
Giannis takes 4 steps and he's at the hoop from the end line of the other side of the court.
But you got
man's strides are crazy.
They catch a pass and they're going to the hoop and they never dribble. Boom, 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 boom. 4 steps, 3 and 4.
This is a conversation for another day, but this is why like the NBA frustrates me as like a purist when it comes to basketball. Is that
you're more of a college basketball fan?
I'm way more of a college guy. They actually call it right. It's actually a team game instead of superstar dominated. Me first, Eurocentric, ISO.
Believe me.
travel, gather step. It's like it actually, no, that's illegal. You actually have to have a team, which to be fair is also why I like this OKC team. And I was going to get y'all's thoughts on that too, without trying to slow us down too much. They remind me a lot of a college team. They play very unselfish ball down the line. Even as dominant as Shai is, Shai doesn't stay on the court like a lot of these teams. And part of that is just nice that they're that deep that he can take breaks like that. But like even as a great of a player Shai is, he's not staying on the court like as long as a lot of these other stars are on these other teams. They're playing him more like they would at these other players and putting him in when it matters. And again, they're saving him for what it matters. Yeah, some of these guys, Mr. Greco already mentioned some of them. I also want to just give a shout out to Alex Caruso. Man, we forgot how good this man was after, again, I know we all have thoughts about the bubble championship with the Lakers, but part of that run was Caruso. Like AD playing the best ball of his life probably, and Caruso. Like Alex Caruso is so underrated, and the fact that he comes off the bench and he's happy to do it, kind of the classic garbage man, just, doing his job. It's so crazy that he just comes in and just does this without complaint. And he's so efficient. And at the same time, as a number 6, is able to like lock up the opponent's best player because of how versatile he is. While having the limitations that he does. And so he's just so impressive. Everything about OKC impresses me, and that's why I'm so happy that they're making a push and that they look like the prohibitive favorites right now because, again, I know they're not the most exciting because of what we become used to in the NBA, but I personally find them enjoyable to watch because it's team basketball, and that's what I enjoy about basketball is at its heart, at its core, basketball is supposed to be a team sport, and that's what the best teams, and that's where you see the best actual product, in my opinion, is when teams play that way. It just doesn't sell as well to a lot of people because it's not, the dunks or the threes, or it's not flashy because of the superstars, because it's there's no me, it's a bunch of we, and that's why I find them personally enjoyable to watch. And I hope
can they be a dynasty? Can they be a dynasty? Do you guys think they can be the next dynasty, the next NBA dynasty?
Let them win one first.
Let them win one first before we judge. Personally, I don't think so, just because I got to see Shai continue to produce on the same level as some of these other superstars that had these dynasties before I'm willing to say that. And part of it is it's just really, it's getting increasingly harder and harder to keep these teams together because of money. And if they win, 1-2, then a lot of those players are going to be due big paydays. And it's going to be hard to keep a hold of a lot of that is going to win them. I mean, the Celtics are finding out this year. They won last year. And then,
now Jaylen Brown, it's probably going to.
Exactly. Now, part of that isn't this year. Part of that's just because they underaccomplished. Because to my knowledge, they brought back most everybody. So it's going to be one of those things where they won the chip and it fell apart the year after, unfortunate, because of injuries and then just underachieving a little bit and running into a really hot team. So that's what makes it hard, though, regardless, to keep a team together long enough to make a dynasty. Because that's what we're saying about the Celtics, and it looks like the Celtics are already done.
Right. But to their credit, to OKC's credit, they've accumulated a lot of assets, draft picks.
That's true.
Things of that nature. They got enough guys a lot of them will probably never be superstars, but they'll keep them on those rookie contracts.
You don't need them to be.
And they don't need them to be. And so after 3 or 4 years, when they're ready to go make their money, OKC can let them go get money. Because they can go accrue other guys. They got access to accrue replacements.
If they can use those assets wisely and trade them around, which they have because they've got a ton of picks.
Yeah, they got a template to have a long-term success. Presti's good, that general manager. And like you said, Caruso and the rest of them, how they fit in. Again, a lot of that, I think, goes back to that coach. I don't know why they don't give this guy more credit, but he does a great job of keeping those guys organized, focused, and on point. They're not all that fussing.
And all of this, guys, in one of the smallest markets in the NBA.
I was just talking about that. Small markets, yeah.
And I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
As a small market guy, rags to riches kind of story. The small market representative.
Imagine if we get a Thunder Indiana Finals.
That would be so. The NBA, Adam Silver would be rolling in his grave. The ratings would be so bad.
Bring the Knicks.
I would love it as a basketball fan because that would be some exciting basketball. Indiana versus OKC. But nationally, no, those would be horrible ratings. We need the Knicks. We need the Knicks really bad.
I'm not. Well, we'll get into this, but I'm not a big Indiana. To me, that's
not like Indiana. He
They're
doesn't.
the epitome of the modern
I don't
day,
either.
modern day
Let's
basketball.
save it. Let's save it so we can all dunk
I-
on them together.
I wanted to get to obviously the game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. Uh, 14-point comeback under 3 minutes. I
They
mean,
just keep doing it, man.
insane how they keep, and you can't write this team off. You cannot write this team off. And Halliburton, he goes for the almost Reggie Miller closeout, and
Yeah.
he thought
He thought he had
he was
it.
like, hey, he did a choke
Yeah.
sign.
Which,
He
as
was
much
like,
as I don't like him, he would have. That would have been such a cold moment
been
in the
so
NBA
cold.
if he
It
had
would've been so
actually done that
And
with
to be
Reggie Miller
honest,
in the house.
they did choke. They
On the
did
call.
choke.
I mean, technically they did,
You
but
know
it's,
what I
just,
mean?
it's not.
But
It's
it just
not quite
wasn't
the
the
same.
same. It wasn't the
It's not
same.
quite the same.
And they're
It
able
wasn't.
to win in overtime, 108-105. Neesmith, we cannot not mention Aaron Neesmith had a flurry of threes, 30 points, and then Halliburton has 31. Man, it's unlike anything that we've probably ever seen in the playoffs. The Knicks, there was no reason that they should have blown this game, and the series isn't over. The Pacers are up by 6 with 5 minutes left. It's concerning, but
This is ridiculous.
it's crazy, man.
What are the Knicks doing, man?
What are your thoughts, Mr. Greco, on this series so far?
Well, I think they're two evenly matched teams. I think they're very evenly matched. If I'm New York, I'm not panicking after that game one. Yes, it's still just one game. Okay, you should not have lost it.
It might be two. It might be two. It's
It
5
might
minutes
be
and they're
two.
up 6.
It
That's how
might be
things are
two.
right now.
But it's still close. There's still, you say 6 points, so therefore
Yeah, so
that's
close.
either
It's
way.
still a game. It's
Yeah,
still a
so
game.
It's still a game. But I don't know. I didn't get to see this one because we're on this. But
Yeah.
I know Nembhard didn't get no eight three-pointers tonight. That's just one of those things that's going to happen every now and then. If he doesn't get the 8 3-pointers, New York wins that game. Okay, even though they made,
You're not going to get a bevy. You're not going to get a consistent bevy of those.
Oh,
It's
man.
no,
not.
that's not going to happen on a regular basis. Okay, I'm not a Halliburton
Siakam
fan.
tonight.
He's the most
Got
stable.
35.
Yikes!
Well, yeah, I saw you at 20 something.
Pascal is so cold, man. Talk
so
about
cold,
another
so
underrated
cold, man.
guy from
Champion.
another
He's totally underrated.
finals.
Yeah.
Talk about another guy from another finals run that kind of,
learned.
went into obscurity after that one singular run, and then he's bounced around a couple places. Well, I guess not a couple places. He went to Indiana after the Raptors trade,
After
right?
Toronto, yeah, he just went there last year.
So he's been kind of quiet until they came on, and he's.
So you guys are both on the Tyrese Halliburton is overrated boat.
Yes.
So you guys.
Yes.
Can
I punch yes 1,000 times, please?
He's better. I have to give him credit. He's better than I thought.
Clutch.
He
Clutch.
is good.
He's clutch though.
He's
clutch.
so
I just don't
arrogant,
like-
though.
But he is
I
very.
don't like his
He's
style. I
so
don't like his style of
arrogant.
play.
He reminds
Oh, yeah.
me. He reminds me of now. He's got more talent to back it up, but reminds me of like the Ball brothers and like just
I
coming
so.
in with that entitled
I can
mentality.
see that
It's like,
comparison.
brother,
great
prove something
comparison.
first before you start acting
Great
this way.
comparison. That's a
Like,
great comparison.
That's a really good
Please
comparison.
act like you've been here before or something.
And I guess that's
not
what the
just-
NBA players pick up on. They're like, bro, you haven't earned this yet.
That's my
That's
problem. Is he
Yeah.
acts like Steph, in terms of celebrating, like he's got the. Let me walk that back because people are gonna take it the wrong way because I don't think Steph acts like him at all.
No.
No,
I
Steph's
think
very humble. Steph's
I think Steph's a lot classier in the way Steph will strut his stuff, but again, it's
Tyrese is over the top.
I don't
He's
know
over the
what
top.
it is, but like it's one people I think will understand. You can't quantify it, but when Steph does it, it doesn't seem as personal or as
No.
edgy as when
This
Halliburton
rubs
does
people.
it.
Yeah.
Halliburton,
He
for
was
whatever
like-
reason, is more in your face. Steph is like,
Yeah.
has his back to you when he's celebrating and doing it's not necessarily any less disrespectful technically when you think about it. But when Steph does the whole night going the other way,
Right.
he's not in your face. Whereas, Halliburton's
Yeah.
like up in your business and like just letting you hear about it. And I
he's
feel like
proved-
that's
and
Indiana
he's
in
proved
general,
something
a lot
before.
of them.
He's
So-
proved
and-
something before.
And to be fair, part of the reason I think he's acting, and this is where we all probably do need to recognize, is part of this. He hears probably a lot of people talking about how he's overrated, and so
That's what I
makes
think.
him
That's what I
play
think.
with a chip on
Yeah,
his
that's
shoulder.
what I think he's playing.
So
with a
I
chip on his
get
shoulder.
that. I just again, the reason people are saying that is a little bit more valid. Like you still haven't won anything. He acts like he's this amazing, giant killer, and yeah, he's come close a couple times, but you still haven't beat really anybody up to this point.
Well,
Like
they
you
say he
come
talks
close
a
with the
lot of noise.
Celtics, And like, sure, if they get into the finals, then obviously that's a big accomplishment. Now, if they make it to the finals and it's OKC, they're punched in the mouth because they're not going to be able to
Run
match
over.
that depth. Again, I've said even if Minnesota can come back, I thought that the Western Conference Finals is the actual finals because I
It
think
is.
regardless of
I agree.
whoever comes out of the
That's
East,
who
they're
wins.
getting
That's who
punched
wins the
in the
whole
mouth
thing.
by whoever comes out of the West.
Yeah.
Just because both of those teams are way too talented and their superstars are better than the East superstars at this point.
Yes.
They're especially going to get worked if it's the Thunder though to me because again the Thunder are so
Yikes.
deep and again for reference what we talked about earlier the style of defense they play Halliburton's going to get locked up so fast because of the style of play that the Thunder have and because of the waves of defenders that they're going to play. But in this series, they're still up 7. They're up 7 now with 3 minutes. So they keep finding ways to win. Give them credit. So they're an impressive team, and the fact that they dismantled Milwaukee the way they did. Now again, that we got to put an asterisk on that. No Dame, but still, you took down Giannis, so that's impressive.
Back-to-back years.
I kind of hate what I hate though is Cleveland should have been in this spot because I think Cleveland would have taken them to task if they had not been injury prone with Mobley being banged up the first few games and not having Darius Garland for the majority of that. And then I think that they had one other role player. I'm pretty sure I was reading and they had like 3 players that were not available.
3 of them.
I couldn't remember who the third one is, but the fact that you're down 3 of your major players that got you in the spot just gutted me for Cleveland just because
Mobley.
yeah, well, that was 2, Garland and Mobley, and there was one more. I'm pretty sure that I can't remember. But the fact that, and I told Wellington, like I said, I had Cleveland as my pick to win it all going into this. Now that was before OKC proved a lot of the things, and that Wellington and I were concerned about. They proved a lot in the course, so I think I would have had a harder time picking if it had turned out to be Cleveland and OKC. But I just was gutted because Cleveland didn't have a prayer in that series without Garland because it was all on.
He's such a major.
It was all on Donovan Mitchell, and he caught a lot of flack, which I thought was kind of unfair because it's like you took away the man's ball handler and facilitator, and it was all on him. And let's look at the way that they played offense. You take away Darius Garland, that team suddenly became a lot more constricted on offense and what they could do without Darius Garland.
They were one-dimensional.
People don't understand how important a ball handler and facilitator is, even in the NBA, because of how much pressure and wear and tear you put on your superstar when there's not someone that's able to take off the pressure of facilitating it. So, but that's neither here nor there. I need to be in the present and not get us distracted. But sorry, I don't want to get too distracted off the trail. So they've beaten some people, but a lot of question marks. If they're able to beat the Knicks, and especially if they go up 2-0 right now, I'm going to be very impressed. I will not lie because the Knicks have looked very impressive up to this point. And the Knicks were going to be my pick after. After in this round, I would have handily picked the Knicks, and it looks like they're going to go up. The Pacers are going to go up 2-0 if everything holds serve the way it is trending right now.
Stephen A's heart's going to be broken.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. Just New York in general, because like it's a cool storyline to see New York back. So
like the city has, and we're going to get into this in the second half of the episode. The city has never been more on fire for this type of moment because like it's just. They haven't won a title since like '73, I think. Like so,
they haven't been good since the '90s. Basically,
it's the '90s, pretty much.
Yeah. They went to the finals in '94. Went to the finals in '94 and '98.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right.